Hello, once again, this is Isaac. Um, Yesterday, Presidential Working Party on Education gave their report, and I want to agree with the president that the report was up to par with the terms of reference. But again, I think the terms of reference left other issues, which I will not blame to the Presidential Working Party. So, a few things about the report is there is an issue when you look at the technical universities across Kenya, in which I should mention here that we have 17 uh, counties that do not have universities or even technical schools, and they should have, according to the constitution. So the task force or the Presidential Working Party took Technical University of Mombasa as a model technical university simply because it is the only public university that is able to balance its balance sheet. The rest of the universities are struggling. Again, while the rest of the universities are struggling, there is too much inequality. And in terms of school fees, there are those universities, the public universities like UON, KU, JKUAT, they are expensive than the rest of the universities. So, and the constitution is very clear that there should be, from the national government through the Ministry of Education, there should be a standardized policy for education, which has never been done in the last 12 years. And so the idea of even having an equal ratio number of teachers against students, we have counties with more teachers and counties with less teachers from across board, from primary all through. Again, we have a problem in representation. The Presidential Working Party was predominantly um, formed by university dons. That is number one. The colleges were not really represented. Private universities were not adequately represented. And so we see another scenario like that one of the Constitution, where members of the legal fraternity developed a lot of job opportunities for fellow lawyers in the name of a new constitutional dispensation. And that's why you have very many lawyers today, and including even in parliament. And so we are seeing another scenario where university dons are also creating opportunities to university lecturers and leaving out other teachers. And so the inequality again moves from students and going up to teachers. And so there is need for restructuring. There are universities that have very few students. Few students, like in a program, you can find a university with 10 students, while you have other universities that have more than 50 students. And so these are the areas of concern, areas that we are supposed to look at and try to standardize for people to have equal access and also for equality. The hustlers have not been looked into gracefully by this report. And so we need hustlers also to come on board, because the report has not addressed their access and affordability. And so when I'm talking about hustlers, I'm even talking about people from marginalized community. And these 17 counties that I'm talking about have the fair share of the marginalized people. As if that is not enough, we have an animal called KUCCPS, that places students according to their qualification to university programs. This is a failure in terms of professionalism here in Kenya. And I have a friend in 2014 who got an A, and he was sent to Dedan Kimathi University to study nutrition. It is so absurd. I advised this young man to just take the course. Probably he may need uh, to go back to university, but it is good to respond to what the government has given you. So after one semester, there was an opening for the cadets, and now he's a pilot with the Air Force. And so this animal should really be relooked, should be, if there is need, they should add more function and give it more power to even work with the other stakeholders and develop programs that are consistent to the number of students who are graduating. Now, and this should not only be limited to public universities. Private universities are key stakeholders in education, and this they should be involved. And the funding that is given to public universities, it is only not true that public university parents are the ones who pay tax. Tax is paid across board by parents who take their children to private universities. And it should not be assumed that because you're taking your kid to private university, you are a rich fellow. No, we look at quality. Those who are not able to afford quality, they are thrown into the limbo. And this is the failure of government. But government is punishing people who are sacrificing. It is not that you have a lot of money. I struggle with my kids in in private universities, private schools. And I'll probably struggle with them in private universities. And so it is not that I'm a rich person, no. Well, that is another debate for another day. The animal that has not been addressed with this report is the ECD, an ECD program that has been failed by municipal and county governments since independence for over 50 years, is now in a very good place with the county governments. But nothing, this report has not addressed that. Probably it was not part of the terms of reference. But for Christ's sake, we need a standard from ECD level to secondary level, the upper secondary level. And so there is a misnomer. A lot of reports that have addressed this, including the Professor Airo and Fatuma Chege report, there was Othiambo report and other reports. They need to be relooked at. And the national government, the recommendation of the task force is that the national government, through Ministry of Education, should implement this. You cannot give failures such responsibility. We have other stakeholders, we have developing partners, we have private sector, we have parents association, we have the private university and private school associations, we have players of industry. Everybody should come on board because education cost and education expenses touch each and every adult who is taking their kid to school or who has ever taken their kid to school. And so the Ministry of Education in implementation phase needs to rise up to occasion and involve all these stakeholders. And so there is need for what the Constitution said in the Schedule 4, that there should be a standardized policy framework for education that can be, even the county governments need to come on board. And so this is something that I really wanted to share with you, Kenyans, in terms of what this report entails. And of course, finally, I am happy with the report because it upheld CBC. This was one of the fears, because CBC is the kind of education that decolonizes education. It removes us from grappling with models and theories that are outdated, like the Charles Darwin and Abraham Maslow theories that come from Europe, that were used between the 13th century to around 15th century. So all those things are recycled back in Africa, and that's why we are always behind. So we don't need even the mall concepts and all these things. We need to develop what works for us, so that we are able to genuinely, as Africans, contribute to the world what is African, and bearing in mind that when the Wazungus came to Africa, they found that Africa was already way ahead of them in terms of agriculture, in terms of civilization, because Africans were already in the Iron Age, while the rest of the world was grappling with Copper Age. The only African region that was behind was probably some part of West Africa, like the Benin and these other areas, region, who were in the Bronze Age. And so, but that even Bronze Age was ahead of the Wazungus Copper Age. And so you will learn that Africans were way ahead, and it is time to redig all this reality about Africa, and our prowess, and bring out to the fore, so that our identity crisis can be dealt with. And so with this, I am very happy, and I am also will try to mobilize people, so that the implementation phase, we can take part in it. So good riddance, everybody, and let us revert back and restore our Africanism, right from religion to education to professionalism. Let us revert back, even politics. The idea of having an individual as the bearer of all the ideas, as a model of leadership, it is not working in Africa. We need also to have a generational model of people who graduate from universities with skills and work for a certain period. They are harmonized at a leadership level. Thank you so much.